People have asked us what's happening with the Warrington Catalans thing. We don't know.
Well, there's a lot of things.
Did I ask Bob last week? Bob Elstone.
There's a lot of things in the offing that aren't being resolved. A lot of things that are really, really worrying in the sport. And that is one of them. That has just been dragging on and on. The other one is the Toronto thing. Are they going to be allowed in or not?
Also, as well, the other one, Emma McManus situation with the Wembley scenario with Robert Hicks, bringing the game into disrepute.
Well, in the not too distant future, like this week, somebody's got to pick a referee for that St Helens Wigan game.
Robert Hicks won't referee.
Week after, somebody might have to be picked for the referee for the grand final, and St Helens might be in it. If the clubs are setting the agenda as to who the referee's going to be, we've gone wrong somewhere.
Say Rob to lose this week. Well done to that kid, by the way.
Wigan.
Yeah,
with his ref shirt.
Yeah, good.
You tweeted that out, didn't you?
Want to see
got quite
more
a
of
lot
that?
of action.
Good. Support the refs. I know people don't like us when we say that. But,
tell you what, there has been interesting with Robert Hicks, hasn't it? Every time on Sky, he's got on the screen for a try.
I thought he had one the other night when he blew the whistle for the obstruction one. I don't know what it said on the telly, but I thought it should have been a try. I don't know why he blew the whistle. When Wigan was 6-0 up, and I think they deemed O'Loughlin had run into the line, but he passed the ball. I don't know, it might have been O'Loughlin that passed it. He passed it before the guy went through the line. And I thought he should have waved play on and go to the screen, but I'm not kicking and screaming that he didn't do that. I thought, maybe he got that one wrong.
It's been very interesting since Wembley Front.
Well, I mean, but this is the thing. I mean, so this is where let's take them in order. Then obviously nothing's out. We're none the wiser about the Warrington thing. It happened at a Super League game.
But you can go back to the semi-final.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's happened with the racism?
There was a racism allegation, and there were bottles thrown on the field.
Yeah.
We've not heard
and racism caught on camera as well. By a chap that certainly I've worked with, and I won't say know him well, but I've worked with a guy, and he certainly deserves better than that. He deserves an answer. He deserves justice for what's happened to him.
At the very least.
So that again, you don't want to use the phrase "swept under the carpet." You don't want to use the phrase "swept under the carpet." It's amazing how many of these stories never see the light of day, isn't it? And they're conveniently forgotten about.
But again, how long does it take him to do the investigation? Who's doing these investigations?
Well, exactly.
Who's doing them?
The other thing is, if you're a credible sport, you go for quick wins.
Yeah.
These were issues that didn't need a lot of investigation.
No.
These were issues that didn't need a lot of investigation.
No. Send us a video. Come in, we want to go through it with you, and then we're going to make our judgments from there.
When that incident in the
Catalans,
Catalans,
pass it on to the police, and they're going to act accordingly.
When that incident in the Catalans with Warrington went on with the fighting and whatever, there were strong messages from the head of Super League, strong messages from the RFL. We're not putting up with this. Yeah. This will be dealt with severely. And since then, nothing's happened. Yeah. that was straight after the game, and then for 40 hours, we're going to sort this. Since then, what's happened?
See, but that's one of the reasons where we quite rightly say we need more coverage, we deserve more coverage. When we don't act on things like this, we don't.
Yeah.
Because if we were a proper sport that was scrutinised, people wouldn't allow it to go for 5-6 weeks without any. It'd be on national radio phone-ins every day of the week.
Somehow, Wakefield managed to find whoever did something naughty within hours of posting their picture online and banned them for 12 months.
Yeah.
Or whatever they did.
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin, he's allowed to be a devout Christian, but you are also allowed to be called out on your views if they're not compatible with the real world, if that's not the phrase I'm looking for. That's as simple as that. Daz says, if trying to get refused, who goes up or the London staying? Well, that means this week's game is the de facto £1 million game live on Sky Sports, Toulouse versus Featherstone.
Well, this is the thing, is it?
Have London been told, don't sell any of your players?
Well, Jordan Abdul signed for Hull KR. I mean, breaking news, everybody.
We never knew. How come we didn't know this? Unbelievable. This Toronto farce needs sorting out. They've had we went to a media briefing, was it last year?
Beginning of last year.
Yeah, where Ralph Rimmer went, no, they're not guaranteed to get in. As though it was fun. We were all like, what? Does Toronto know about this? Oh yeah, they know about this. And yet a year later, more than a year later, we're still in the same boat.
We went into the £1 million game last year, which it was expected on form that Toronto would win, and they'd cleared all the hurdles. If Toronto had won that game, at Lamport this time last year, and not London, they would have been in Super League. They were asked to produce additional evidence, and they did. What's different this year?
There has to be produced more stuff out there.
Well, but you can't. You know, at what point as a credible? How do you? Whatever, and we'll discuss no doubt crowds in a minute. The one shining light, apart from York, has been yet again. Toronto have got over 9,000 for a home game. How do you turn around to those fans in a fortnight's time and say, you know, we kept telling you this was the route to Super League? Actually, it isn't. As a sport, what credibility do you have left if you go down that road?
And if what the RFL used to say to us whenever you used to ask about how have you allowed this to happen? It's not our job to micromanage clubs, but yet they seem intent on micromanaging Toronto, who aren't. I don't know. It seems a bit. It seems. Look, for the record, if Toronto win the game, I want to happily have them in Super League. Happily have them in. I know the logistics and everything. That's all got to be sorted out. But if they win on the field, they've done what they've been asked to do, like London did last year, and they should be promoted. As a sport, they've been let in, and again, does it go down to the, and I'll use the word incompetence of the predecessors who were running the sport?
Yes.
Is it their fault that this situation? But then again, the people that have taken over have had a year, 18 months to rectify this problem. So they're as much to blame as the people who made the decision
You've
before.
made a very good point there. One of the reasons we have this issue, we've said it right from the very beginning, is if you've got two people trying to administer the same thing, you're never going to get consensus on anything.
No.
So the Super League is saying, well, you want to dump this problem on us. Here are the questions we're asking back of you. But they're not asking the questions directly of Toronto. They've got to ask them of the RFL because Toronto are in an forget it. This is just another reason why we cannot afford to have two separate governing bodies.
But this is why, when we're talking about New York City and the other Canadian team coming in, Ottawa, this is why it should be Robert Elstone making these decisions, because ultimately we should be letting these teams in not to languish in League One, to get in the Super League. That's what we should want them in for. So they need,
and the same
there's
criteria,
no joined up thinking.
Whatever the criteria are, has to apply to Newcastle.
Can I ask you? I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put you on the spot now, because when Mr. Elstone came in, I queried what he was doing, and we know he spent a lot of time sorting out this with the RFL and doing this and doing that and doing the other. Is he doing a good job, in your opinion? Honest question. In my opinion, I'm going to say he's not. Because I think, right, we're a year now. It's been a year. We're a year nearer to the needing a new TV deal. And he may have been brought into, in my opinion, they should have said to him, Robert, we'll give you £500,000 if you get us a TV deal worth this much. If you get this much, we'll give you £1 million. Fair enough, you're earning it, that's great, do that. I don't think for the sport he's done anything. I really don't.
I'll be interested to hear Gary's take on it, but mine is that I spent a lot of time last week listening to and reading the transcripts of what he said at the playoff briefing. And I think that was all a bit staged. It was an opportunity for him to give his opinion. Didn't see too many questions asked of him, or could he justify it? But I heard him say things like, I want less games. I heard him say things like, I want an even fixture list. I heard him say things like, I want 2 referees. I heard him say a lot of things that he wanted, none of which he can implement at the moment, because 2020 is going to look exactly the same as 2019. So I don't know how, as a sport that is short of resource, we can afford to be paying an extra executive for the sport to look the same.
Well, why is he not saying then, right, as part of my plan to implement 2 referees, that 1.8 million that we're not giving to Toronto, I'm going to take that and we're going to get 20 more referees.
Or why is he not saying, I have produced a paper, having been in the job for a year, about how the sport, which has got a massive negotiation to take place in a year's time, has to move forward. One of the ways it has to do that is season needs to start a lot later. We need to have no loop fixtures, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, but he said again, those are a one-hit wonder, we'll have them short term.
But I have produced this paper, I've presented it to the 12 Super League chairmen who pay me, and if they don't agree to this, I'm off tomorrow. Then I would have probably more respect for it.
Yeah.
I don't think the hashtag New Beginnings and a new logo that's going to be unveiled at the beginning of next year is even a shot clock is anything other than
No,
cosmetic.
well, it's like, can I ask
Put on the shot
a
clock,
question? Can I ask a question? Who bought? We saw these videos, the Al moment or whatever. What was it?
I thought it was just one at the start. Has there been one since?
No, there was some part last week by the clubs, and they all look like they've been produced in the same place.
Yeah.
Preaching to the converted again.
Absolutely.
We're preaching to the converted again. No need. I don't see where it's coming from. I just don't. I look at it and I fear at the top of the game it's not being run properly.
Well, to be honest with you, Robert Elston's not running the game. It's the 12 chairmen who are running the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So
who are not in agreement themselves.
this is what I'm saying. So how can the game move forward? And just maybe to stand up for Robert, to be honest with what Phil's saying there. And if he'd come up with this paper, this blueprint paper to say this is what I want A, B, C, and D up till Z, and there. But he's not deciding that. He cannot go there and say, right, this is the way we're going to move forward. This is the way I reckon we'll get this TV deal, and I reckon I'll get the TV deal and what you are looking for if you agree to this. Unfortunately, he's not in charge. It's the 12 chairman of Super League, and that is where the downfall is. It is.
Rich?
I'll have to bring in the 13-point plan that he gave us at the start of the season so we can go over them. Unless people see that as negative, I don't know.
I just don't think it's working. I don't think it's working.
But also,
the problem is...
but also well, when you look at it, and Robert Elstone wanted to make superstars out of our superstars in Super League. Well, again, I spoke to Phil last week about it, and I was listening to the radio what we work for, in TalkSport, and then Darren Goff went on, right. And if we're looking to get Rugby League players out there and getting names from them, and Goffey was going on about, the BMW tournament was there, and he was playing with Vaughan, he was playing with Mike Ting and all this sort of, and I'm thinking, you know what, why isn't Rugby League being represented? Is anybody not putting out Rugby League as our brand, as our sport, and putting our play? I'm not talking about myself because I've been gone 20 odd years now, but I'm talking about your Schoolthorpes and all these sort of people, and Longies and what have you. Why are we not getting the so-called superstars out and meeting these big sponsors, and being associated and being part of it, and not, as Phil mentioned there with Rugby Union World Cup. I've looked at the Rugby Union World Cup this week, and I've written down all the major sponsors from there. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing of the amount of talent what they are feeding into. Why are we not doing this from there? And this is one thing what Robert Elstone says. I'm going to make the superstars of Super League bigger superstars. We're going to get them out there. That's another failure. That's not.
Our media footprint is getting smaller.
I agree.
Through radio, local radio, national radio,
absolutely.
through the newspaper.
Absolutely.
It's getting smaller. It's getting smaller. And it's frightening, and that's the media mismanagement.
Because you know what, and it doesn't give me any joy in saying this, but unfortunately, we are a very, very small majority sport, and it doesn't give me any joy in saying that. We are. Because
we're honest on this problem. I've admitted it for a while, and people don't see that. The problem with things like I've not read the quotes from Robert Elstone because I can't be bothered. But one of the main headlines that comes out of it, or the thing people pick up on, is the Thursday games. It's a complete irrelevance. Whatever day of the week we play games on is completely irrelevant to the future of Rugby League. We play on Thursdays to Sky One because it fills a slot, and it's alright people saying, oh well, the Lee Fev game got 7 billion viewers on Sunday night for a one-off on a Sunday. We don't always play games on a Sunday night against nothing. We had Saturday afternoon Rugby League this week, York and Fev, and at the same time York and Fev's on Sky, we're competing against ourselves on our app by showing an amateur final. Why are we doing that? There's no joined up thinking within the sport.
No.
Robert Elstone or whoever, I was sold on him being the second coming of Maurice Lindsay. And we've said before on this programme, Lindsay's like Thatcher. He believed in exactly what his plan was. And his plan may have had lots of flaws, but he believed in it and he was going to go forward with it.
Absolutely.
Bugger everyone else, he was going to do what he did. Whether he's a success or a failure is up to you. And if you're from Featherstone, you'll think differently than if you're from Wigan. What is our plan generally? What is our actual plan?
But who is our spokesperson? Who is talking up Rugby League? Who is demanding going on programmes to raise the profile of sport? Who is going on saying, there's no issue with Toronto, this is what's happening with Toronto? Nobody. That is the role of the person that supposedly is the chief executive of your organisation. The fact that we've got two, for me, is an issue. I think Robert Elstone's qualifications, in that he's worked for broadcasters, he's worked for accountancy firms who specialise in sport, he's run a Premiership football club that didn't have access to the same resources as others, but so he knows the issues of a sport. He's followed the politics and the sport since he was young. He's worked in the RFL in a previous incarnation. For me, he's got every qualification we need.
But yeah, he's not doing.
But what he hasn't got is the power. And if you were going to pay somebody the amount of money that he's allegedly being paid, I would have just said, it's not about the 12th chairman anymore. We're paying this bloke because he's got everything we haven't. Go and do the job. Go be head of the game. And if that means somebody has to move slightly sideways to accommodate him, so be it. Because we've got the guy we want. Your job is to bring in more finance. We've not seen a new sponsor. Your job is to bring in more finance. We've not seen a new sponsor.
No.
We might have seen some renewals and we might have lost Specsavers and bought Romseal, but we're not talking about huge amounts.
There has been an improvement in the
in a deal that was already there.
I think that's an acknowledgement from the major sponsor that we're getting.
But we haven't got a major new sponsor.
No, we haven't.
So I would have said to him, if we're going to pay you the kind of money that your market value determines, this is the job we want you to do. We actually want you to be in charge. And chairman of the Super League clubs, his brief is to get you more money, but you have to allow him to have a brief, not keep referring to him. And the thing about Maurice Lindsay was he was a benevolent dictator. So for the 5 years he's in charge, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing.
Well,
and any successful company has a bloke at the top that says, this is where we're going.
But from Maurice's point of view, Maurice, he was very purposeful. It was either his way or you were gone. I can remember when Leeds, when they first came through, and they said to Leeds, you've got 40 minutes to decide. If you're not covering, you're in League One. That was it. That was it. And they had to do it because Leeds didn't want Summer Rugby because of the cricket and all that thing. Anyway, they had 40 minutes to decide, and then they decided what to do. But again, just defending Robert Elstone, to be honest, the trouble is with our game, it has always been since it came in, since it started, it's all self-interest. That's what it is. Wigan could care less about Saints don't care less about Warrington, Warrington don't care less about Leeds don't care less about Cass. It's all self-interest.
Which is why they need somebody above that.
Yeah, well, they've employed somebody above that now, but still, he's not in charge. It's still the 12 teams in charge, so that is a big problem. That's where it falls down.
And to me, the amount of money that the clubs now get from central funding means that they don't need a say. That their job is to go out and make as much additional money that they can to keep their business going, in the knowledge that the players that play for them are all paid for now. Why do they need a say in the running of the game?